Hi guys! So, in the last video, I sort of talked about how I'm on this journey of rediscovering my creativity, and I actually really wanted to kind of introduce you to different ways I am trying to do that. So how am I actually rediscovering my creativity, or in what ways am I implementing artistic sort of things or activities into my everyday life? The beginning is always the most difficult part in every journey because it's just where you have to overcome your impatience, you have to overcome your perfectionism, you have to overcome your inner critic, your boredom, your laziness, your procrastination, all of these things we know so well. We have to overcome them in the beginning, and it's so difficult. And the first step is to show up. And this is my first step. But of course, these things will be broadened as we step into and go deeper into this journey, because this is just the surface level. It's definitely going to be expanded into more things, and it's going to get more fun. But so far, these are the baby steps I've taken. And yeah, so thank you so much for everyone who's watching this video. So the first thing I did back in October was sign up for art class in order to pick up a long forgotten hobby of mine that I previously had practiced in a very scattered manner. As a teenager, I used to paint sometimes, and I remember I enjoyed it, but then, perfectionism and imposter syndrome sort of creeped in and made it a lot more difficult for me to continue, hence why I hadn't painted for many years. I thought art class would help me dust off parts of this blockage, and I have to say it really did, because in the beginning I sort of followed the exercises during class, then I started making doodles at home, and later my teacher also suggested I should start working on my own sketchbook that would also be displayed at the small exhibition taking place at the end of the semester, which is this month, by the way, in February. So my sketchbook became my art project, let's say, and I tried to practice painting and sketching by filling out pages of it. And I have to admit that I'm still very dependent on finding guidance and references online. I use Pinterest a lot to see artworks and drawings I like, and sometimes, I even replicate them the exact way I see them, and other times I solely use them for inspiration. But, this is something I would like to start minimizing now, as I wouldn't want to keep replicating other artists' work. But for learning purposes, it is helpful. When I see people using their words in a way that can describe an emotion or an experience with such grace and finesse that I, the reader, am feeling seen, supported, or even just as if a heavy weight has been lifted off my shoulders, I'm always left feeling enamored and enchanted. And because I noticed that I admire people who write and I admire people who have the ability to express their emotions, I decided to try it out myself. I have started carrying a notepad every day in my bag just so I can scribble words or sentences whenever something pops up in my mind. And sometimes I even pretend I'm a lyricist and I just draft lyrics for hypothetical songs. I also try writing poems that help me process certain things, and I've also written poems to complement the storyline of my sketchbook, which I will show you in my next video. It's not always easy for me to keep writing. A lot of the time something happens and I don't write about it, but I try to make it a habit, I'd say. But yeah, I'm still working on it. Another very recent thing I have started is photography. I actually signed up for a photography course now that art class sort of came to an end. 2 weeks ago was actually the first time I went there, and I had vlogged a little bit about it. I'm back from class. I liked it. It was nice. I can't say much because it was just one class, obviously. Photography for me is a completely new field. I have no idea. And it kind of goes well with this. What would you do if you didn't have to do it perfectly? Because I just don't have any clue about photography. Like I picked it up in the past here and there, sometimes, dabbled with it a little bit, but it never stuck. It was always like, okay, I'm over it already, because I never looked at it in the right way. I don't know. Maybe this time will be different, but it's nice to explore things that are just so strange to you and are so like something you don't even know nothing about. Like photography for me is this kind of thing. I don't know much about it, but I think it's very useful as a skill. But also, let's go beyond the usefulness of it. Let's see it from a different perspective. Maybe it's a completely amazing, it is, but for me, it hasn't been revealed yet. This completely amazing art form. Yeah. Going to art galleries or exhibitions has really proven to be an eye-opener for me. Seeing ways in which people have captured their emotional world or a particular circumstance or anything really on paper or in a photograph has either served as an inspiration or just opened a door to a new way of thinking, to a new way of perceiving. And, whenever I get the chance, I also like to ask the artist about the meaning behind their work. But, if I don't get the chance, I will usually always just think about it myself or just fantasize about what it could have been, what has brought this artist to this work. Night outs have never traditionally served as ways for me to be creatively challenged or inspired. But recently, I entered this new world of exploring live music, performing bands, and various musical genres. I don't know why, but I had previously no idea about this kind of way of going out. But now I really love it because there's something so wonderful about watching musicians just doing their thing, playing their own music, and just, jamming literally in front of you and jamming with each other in their band or solo, whatever it is. Plus, you can also dance and have a lot of fun, so that's great. And I've also been exposing myself to new genres lately, like rock, alternative rock, and here and there some influences of punk, jazz, or whatever. And dare I say that my personal music taste has been broadened a lot. And, sometimes I even try to go alone to live gigs when I don't have any friends or company available to join me. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Yes, this book is really one of the reasons why this whole artist discovery journey started for me in the first place. Julia Cameron is just providing so many beautiful ways to overcome your artistic insecurities and general blockages. And there are many weekly and daily tasks in there, and you can also use them basically to broaden your artistic activities in general. So yeah, a lot of it stems from this book, and I really recommend it. We are all already creating at least one thing in our daily lives without noticing. Take cooking, for example. It is a way of creation. In the end of the day, you create something out of something else. Or when you take pictures with your phone, you are the creator. You are the one who decides what you will put in your frame or not. Even like other things like putting makeup on if you like wearing makeup, or when you put together an outfit. These are all everyday things that we do, that we just sometimes do in a very routine-based manner. So many of these things can be enhanced by us just being more present in them, being more loving with them, and realizing what we're doing in that moment, observing more. It's just looking at it in a different way. This last one is strictly seen not an artistic activity per se, but in my opinion, it goes hand in hand with building a foundation for more creativity and leading an artistic life. Art, when seen as a very broad term, can also affect everyday things like how you drink your coffee in the morning or how you take some time for yourself to decompress. There is beauty in those little things. So I think nurturing yourself, going on a date alone to maybe do something you really wanted to do but kept postponing, or just going for a walk just to ground yourself and center your thoughts is very much healing and can help us create more. Be more generous with yourself and others. Once you start being more generous with yourself, life will also be more generous with you. Have more fun with life and just dance it out, sing that silly songs, and just spread that energy around. I think it really makes a huge difference, and you will also feel a lot better. Talk lovingly to yourself and to others, and most importantly, observe, listen, and just be present. There's so many beautiful things around that can act in healing ways and just nurture our artist within.